A very good morning to one and all. And today concept is about the second type of a normal form. In the last class, I explained you about an CNF, right? CNF is nothing but an Chomsky normal form. And in the CNF, I explained you what the syntax of the CNF is, and from the given grammar, how to convert it into the CNF just by following the syntax of its format. That means the syntax of CNF is variable tends to at most two variables, not more than the two. Only two variables are allowed or accepted there, or else variable tends to directly it is in terminal, right? And you need to get the given grammar into the format of these two. And initially what you need to do is you need to simplify the given grammar, and for the simplification we're having some three ways of reducing the given grammars. And the first step one simplification is you need to check it out whether there are any epsilon productions in the grammar. Then if it is necessity to eliminate, then you can eliminate just by following the algorithm of the reducing epsilon productions. And the second step is eliminating unit productions. And if there is any unit productions in the grammar, you need to eliminate those unit productions just by applying the algorithm of or the theorem of the unit production, reducing the unit productions. And then finally useless variables. And same thing, if you find out the useless variables in the given grammar, means you need to eliminate those useless variables and make it as an useful grammar. Finally, the whatever the productions that are left it out, all those are should be an useful productions in the given grammar. So to make it as an useful grammar, if if the grammar consisting of an useless, means you need to apply the algorithm or you need to apply the theorem of how to reduce the useless symbols, right? These are the three most important things that we need to do. The first step number one, that is simplification of the context free grammar. And then step number two is just by following the syntax of the CNF, you need to get the given grammar into the format of the CNF, right? If you know what the syntax of the CNF is, that means the productions of the CNF should be in the form of like this. And you need to get the given grammar into the format of CNF. That's the thing that you need to do while converting the given grammar into the Chomsky normal form. And the second type of normal form here we're having, that is Greeback normal form. It is the most important normal form. Greeback. Greeback normal form is an most important normal form. Two normal forms that we're having. Uh, One is in CNF and another one is in GNF. CNF is in Chomsky normal form. GNF is in Greeback normal form. Please make a note of this. In the unit number 3, in context-free grammars, we're having the concept like a normal forms. In that, we are going to learn two types of normal forms. One is in CNF and the another one is in GNF, right? CNF I already explained you. I think you all understand how to convert the grammar into the CNF. And now in this class, I'm going to explain about the GNF. And what the prerequisites that I need for converting the grammar into the GNF means, first I need a context-free grammar. Then I need to do the simplification of the context-free grammar. Then the final step is to convert it into the GNF, right? And here a context free grammar is an GNF. That means we are talking about the context free grammars. In context free, a context free, always we need to specify like this. A context free grammar is an GNF. When it becomes an GNF, if all the production rules should satisfy one of the following condition. What are those? If all the production rules should satisfy one of the following conditions. And same as here, it is the syntax of the GNF. Please make a note of this syntax. And all a non-terminal generating and terminal, that is x tends to x. Either my production should be like this, or a non-terminal generating a terminal followed by any number of non-terminals. What it means is a variable tends to the right hand side, the first appearing word should be an terminal. Then if the remaining all should be the non-terminals, like this, like this. And up to now we're having two syntaxes. What are those? X tends to small x, that is where terminal tends to non-terminal. Sorry, a non-terminal tends to terminal, that means variable tends to terminal. Capital letter tends to capital, letter tends to small letter, just for your identification, like that. and a non-terminal generating a terminal which should followed by any number of non-terminals. That means first initially I am starting with the non-terminal x, and then I need to start with the terminal, and after that the terminal should follow any number of non-terminals, right? And the start symbol generating an epsilon, s tends to epsilon, like this. And these are the conditions of these are the syntax that we're having. That means this is the format of the GNF. Then we need to convert the grammar into this format, either to x tends to x or either to x tends to x, where terminal x variables x1 x2 so on xn, right? And please make a note of this. This is the syntax of the GNF, and we need to get the grammar into this format. And we're having the, after knowing the syntax or after knowing the condition of the GNF, let's consider the following grammar. What the grammar here is, I'm having two grammars G1 and G2, where my G1 consisting of S tends to AA or BB, B tends to BB or B, A tends to AA or A. Z tends to, again Z2 is another grammar. Z2 is S tends to AA or BB, B tends to BB or epsilon, A tends to AA or epsilon. See, the grammar G1 is GNF, as production rules satisfy the rules specified to the GNF, right? Because uh, in the production of S, starting with the terminal and having any number of non terminals, but here we're having one non terminal, nothing will be happen, it is acceptable. Same thing here also, starting with the terminal and the followed by the non terminal, and this rule is acceptable, and this comes under the GNF. And coming to the B, B tends to, again here also starting with the terminal and then followed by any number of non-terminals, and here I'm having only one non-terminal, it's okay, and it is acceptable production. Or else B tends to directly small b, and it is also acceptable by the by the rules of GNF. And A tends to, here also I'm having small a, then a terminal a, then A, so this is also an acceptable production for the rules of the GNF. Or else A tends to A. So everything, every rules of these productions are acceptable. So these rules satisfy the rules that are specified for the GNF, right? So what the syntax of the GNF is, either it should be variable tends to terminal, or it should be variable tends to terminal, and then it should followed by any number of non-terminals. It may be one, two, whatever it may be, and it should followed by any number of non-terminals, and everything is in the format of that, right? So, and we can say that the given grammar G1 is an GNF. Now, however, the grammar G2 is not an GNF. Why? Because G2 is having epsilons, and other than the epsilons, remaining all are in the format of the GNF. But here we're having the production rules like B tends to epsilon and A tends to epsilon. So those do not satisfy the rules of the GNF. Why? Because only start symbol can be generated epsilon, not these. If the S is generated with an epsilon means it's okay. It is in the form of GNF. But here B is not a starting symbol and A is not a starting symbol. But both the B and A are generating the epsilons. So these epsilons does not satisfy the rules specified for the GNF. So we can say that Z2 is not an GNF. I think it is clear to you all. This is also most important example, because just by seeing this example we can recognize that which things are to be acceptable and which things are to be not acceptable. That means which are following the rules and which are not following the rules. So please make a note of these two examples, G1 and Z2, and let you understand why the GNF is in why the G1 is in GNF and why Z2 is not in GNF. Only because of these epsilons for the B and A, we consider that Z2 is not an GNF. Why? Because from the rules or from the conditions of the GNF, starting symbol should only generate the epsilon. And here from the grammar, which is the starting symbol, S is the starting symbol. If S is having the epsilon means it is acceptable. That rule was satisfied, but here the B is generating the epsilon and A is generating the epsilon. Both B and A are not are the starting symbols. So that's why we concluded that Z2 grammar is not in an ZNF. Right? I think it is clear to you all. And now we're having some most important point note. For a given grammar, there can be more than one GNF. We can also produce, the GNF produces the same language as generated by the CFG. This is the most important note. That means for whatever the given grammar, whatever the context-free grammar we are having, the context-free grammar can generate more than one GNF. It is possible. And also that GNF should produce the same language as generated by the CFG. And these are the two most important points that we need to remember. And now let's see how to convert the CFG into GNF. This is step number 1. This is step number 1 for converting the context-free grammar into GNF. Right. What the step number 1 is, first you need to convert the grammar into CNF. I think you all know how to convert the grammar into CNF, right? First you need to convert the grammar into CNF is the step number 1. And then if the given grammar is not in CNF, then you need to convert it. Or you can refer you can also go through how to convert the given grammar into the CNF, and there you're having an conditions in the sense we're having a syntax of in the form of two production rules, and just you need to follow the two production rules and get the given grammar into the two production rules, right? And what the step number 2 is, you need to eliminate the left recursion from the given grammar. Eliminating the left recursion means, I will explain you how to eliminate the left recursion. With the example, I will explain you how to eliminate the left recursion. And if the context-free grammar contains left recursion, then you need to eliminate them, right? And step number 3 is, you need to convert the production rules into the GNF form. This is the last step number 3. So if any production rules is not in the GNF form, means then you need to convert them, and then you need to show it finally. It is the uh, modified grammar G1 in the form of an GNF. That means we converted the grammar G into the G1, right? So you need to show that. And here, by taking with an example, I am going to explain you. Please make a note of this example also. First of all, you please listen carefully. Then after understanding all these, then you please make a note of this example number 1. And here consider the given grammar, and what the given grammar is: S tends to XA or BB, B tends to B or SB, X tends to B, A tends to A. So this is the given grammar, right? So this grammar G1 is already in an CNF. So no need to convert it into the CNF, because how I can say that it is in CNF means S tends to two variables, B tends to directly terminal, B tends to two variables, X tends to terminal, A tends to terminal. So everything is in the form of an CNF, right? And also you need to check it out whether the given grammar is having the left recursion or not. How to check it out? If the grammar is having the left recursion means, and the left hand side of the variable, the same variable is appearing on the right hand side, first appearing is on the right hand side, means then we can say that it is a left recursion. But here S X mismatch, S B mismatch, B yes. So we're not having such type of an mappings, so there is no left recursion. Up to now there is no left recursion, and in further we can check it out whether it will be there or not. So we can skip step number 1 and step number 2, because what the step number 1 is, you need to convert the given grammar into CNF. What the step number 2 is, you need to eliminate the left recursion, right? So for the given grammar G1, this is the G1 grammar. For this grammar, we are not having we are no need of converting it into the CNF, because already it is in the form of an CNF, and no need of eliminating the left recursion because it does not contain any left recursion, right? So we can skip step 1 and step 2, and directly we can move to the step 3. So what the step 3 is, now we are converting the production rules into the GNF form.
So what we need to do is, what the rules or what the productions to get into the GNF form is, either it may be variable tends to terminal or variable tends to terminal dot any number of variables, right? So now we need to get each and every variable in the form of GNF. Now the production rule S tends to SB is not in GNF. Why? Because S tends to SB is not in GNF means we need to substitute the XA or BB in the production rule. B tends to SB, right? So we are doing that. See here, S tends to XA or BB, B tends to B, or in the place of this S I substitute XA BB. So now the rule becomes XAB BBB. The remaining rules same as it is, X tends to B, A tends to A. So now what I am doing is I am converting the grammar into the GNF. So to convert the grammar into this GNF, what I am doing here is I am uh, doing the substitutions. I am doing the substitutions. Why I am doing the substitutions here? To get the grammar in the form of an GNF, right? So after substituting the rules of the S in the place of this S, finally my grammar my productions are this. And now checking out each and every production, the production rules XA and B tends to XAB is not in GNF. Why? Because XA and B tends to XAB is not in GNF. There we need to substitute X tends to B in production rules of S tends to XA. What it means is, first of all, we need to get the terminal and then non-terminals, right? So that's why we're doing all this. We're doing the substitutions. In the place of this X, if I put B, then it becomes BA. Right. In the place of this X, if we put B, then it becomes BAB. So now this BA is in the form of GNF. This BAB is in the form of GNF. Now what the thing I need to do is I need to get this BB and this BBB into GNF. But while converting this BBB into GNF, here I am having a left recursion problem. What the left recursion problem is, B tends to B. So the left hand side of the variable and the right hand side of the variable are getting same. So now I need to eliminate that. First of all, I need to eliminate that BBB. So for eliminating that, what the rule that we need to follow here is, we need to map that with A tends to A alpha. A tends to A alpha. That's the mapping syntax we are having for the left recursion. And when we are having the production in the form of A tends to A alpha, then you need to convert it into A tends to like this. Now you need to convert it into S tends to BABB or B tends to BC. What the BC is, and C is a new variable that we newly defined this C, and or BABC. Right. What the C is here, again the C becomes BBC or epsilon. What it means is, while converting the while removing the left recursion, and for removing the left recursion we are having a syntax. What the syntax is, it should be in the form of A tends to A alpha. Then when we map it with the left recursion syntax, then it should be converted into it should be eliminated in the form of A tends to alpha something, a new variable you can choose, whether C or the other variable which does not already exist in the given grammar. So up to now we are not having the C, so that's why we use an C variable. And alpha A dash tends to alpha. I will show you this one, and then I will get how to eliminate the left recursion. See, this is the elimination of the left recursion. In this way, we should eliminate the left recursion. And for removing the left recursion, first of all, if the grammar is in left recursive, it has a non-terminals s such that there is a derivation like s tends to s alpha or beta. That means if you map with this, if you map with this means you need to get it. You need to get it into the format of s tends to s alpha or beta. So if you are having the productions like this, a tends to a alpha 2, and so on, then a and a are mapped, right? A and a are mapped. Now you are mapping this with a tends to s tends to s alpha. What the remaining that we are having, those comes under the beta. So that can be replaced as a tends to beta a dash, a dash tends to alpha a dash or epsilon. So you need to get the productions in the form of like this. You need to get the productions in the form of like this. See here, like this you need to get. See here, L tends to L comma S or S. This is, this you mapped with A tends to S tends to S alpha or beta. S tends to S alpha or beta, right? So S tends to S alpha or beta can be written as S tends to beta A dash, right? A dash tends to alpha A dash or epsilon. That's the thing, that's the way of eliminating the left recursion. And the same thing that we did here, but here complements are not acceptable. That's why we introduce a new variable, I can see. And with the C, we are writing, we are eliminating the left recursion. So after mapping that in the form of B tends to BBB is mapped with S tends to S alpha or beta. So now it becomes B tends to the C is considered as an dash, the complement, but here complements are not acceptable. That's why we're taking it as an C. So B C or BABC. What the C becomes now? BBC or epsilon, right? So these are the two that we get from this BBBB, right? We get from this rule. So what the remaining productions are x tends to b and a tends to a. These two are same as it is, and the first one is as it is, but we did the recursion for the rule b tends to bbb. So after eliminating the left recursion, the rules are to be like this. Then we need to eliminate the null production c tends to epsilon now, because nulls are not also acceptable for the ZNF. If the epsilon is for the S means it is acceptable, but here we're having the epsilon for the C. So what we're going to do is we're removing the null productions. How to remove the null productions? Just wherever we're having this, just you need to place the epsilon there and we need to get the production. So it becomes S tends to BA, BB, B tends to BC or BA, BC or BAB. See, here I put epsilon, then it becomes B. Here I put epsilon, then it becomes BAB. So these are the two that we get from there. And C tends to BBC or BB, right? X tends to B, A tends to A. So after that, the productions of the rules, this is in the form of GNF, this is in the form of GNF, this is in the form of GNF, and this is in the form of GNF, and this is in the form of GNF. But BB, BBC, BB are not in the form of GNF. So first of all, what we are going to do is, and the production rules of S tends to BB is not in GNF. So we need to substitute what the B is going to be generated and what the B rules are to be here. Just we need to substitute in the place of this B, then you get it into the format of ZNF. So now it becomes BCB, BABCB, then BB, then BAB. Now all the rules are in the form of an ZNF. Same the thing that you need to apply here also. In the place of this B, you need to place all these what the B's are going to be derived. You need to place all the rules of the B and you need to get it into the form of a ZNF here also. So finally, and after substituting those, finally the rules are like this. Now B becomes in the form of ZNF, S becomes in the form of ZNF, and in the C In the place of this b, I put the rules of the b, then it is in the form of ZNF. Now in the place of this b, again you need to substitute the rules of the b, then those will become in the form of ZNF. So finally, after checking out each and every production, everything should be in the form of ZNF. First starting with the terminal, then any number of non-terminals. Starting with terminal, any number of non-terminals, like that. So everything is in the form of ZNF, or else directly variable tends to terminal. So finally, the solution gets ended. Therefore, this is in the form of ZNF, right? So this is the way of converting the given context-free grammar into the ZNF. Very easy. Only the substitution that we're doing here, nothing logic that we applied here. But the first thing is the step number 2. Removing the left recursion is most important if it contains. That means, see here, at the starting itself, my grammar does not have the left recursion. When I'm making the substitutes, then my grammar get into the left recursive. So then after recognizing that here this production is having the left recursion, then you need to eliminate just by applying the syntax of the left recursion, and then you need to convert it into the ZNF, right? This is a most important problem of converting the given grammar into the ZNF. Any doubts to anyone? If you have any doubts, you can please ask. Any one of you please respond. Do you all understand the concept of ZNF? Still, any one of you are having any doubts, you can please message in the chat box. I will respond to that. Some of you are leaving the session. I think you can get the doubt like this. Why we substitute the variables of the rules of the S in the place of the production B? That means in the place of the production B, we're having SB, right? SB, for the B, we're having a rule SB. Why we substitute the rules here? Substitute the rules of S here means S is not deriving the terminal. Where S is the starting variable of the given grammar, S is not deriving any terminals. S is not deriving any terminals. So we need to get the productions in the form of the ZNF. We need to choose out which productions are going to generate the terminals. X is generating the terminal because X is generating B, or A is generating A. So if you substitute these rules in the place of this S, then you can get it into the format of the ZNF, right? So if you substitute B in the place of this, means this will get in the form of ZNF, like that. For choosing of that, I substitute the rules of S in the place of this S. Is it clear? Any doubts to anyone? Anyone of you please respond to my question. Is the concept is clear to you all? This is the second type of the normal form, and with this concept, with this type of the normal form, the concept of normal form is completed. I need a response from you. Please, any one of you respond.
Any doubts to anyone? I am asking you only. Here I'm having 107 presentees, but no one is responding to my question. What's going on there? Are you all clear with the concept of ZNF? Or still any one of you having any doubts? What number? LE5? No doubts. No doubts. What you written in the chat box? I didn't get. Okay. And in the next class, I'm going to explain the closure properties as well as the pumping lemma theorem. And with those two concepts, we concluded unit number 3 also. And all the contents or all the concepts under the unit number 3 as per the syllabus was covered up to now. Only two concepts are remained. One is on closure properties and of CFL, and the another one is in pumping lemma for CFL. With these two concepts,
The third unit will get concluded.